G'day, this is Captainoob, but this is an SVD Dragunov. This is a highly customizable standalone marksman rifle type weapon with custom sounds and animations offered by the Russian Assault Pack. And just like the PP-19 that I did with it a couple of days ago, this thing is of extremely high quality with the meshes and textures. I especially enjoy the aesthetic of the wooden furniture here. I do really quite like that. So getting into the attachments of this one, starting off with the receiver, the two best ones are located down the bottom and they'll sort of point you in the direction of where you want this thing to be spec'd. So we've got the reinforced frame, which will give us a decent range and accuracy as well as damage, but if you want to do more damage at the cost of a little bit of rate of fire, if you want to make this slightly better at close, at longer ranges as offered by the extended accuracy and range, you can chuck on the precision modifications, which will make this one our sniper, I suppose. So they actually need sniper to actually spec into that. That's nice. So yeah, we'll be making a long-range Dragunov out of this, and you can make the range even longer with a barrel. You can have polymer furniture on the stock as well as the handguard there too. So if you don't like the look of the wooden, why wouldn't you? Well, you can choose a polymer instead. But I want to go for an extended looking barrel there, and we'll move on. There's also integrated suppressors as well, so it can make it look like an extended ASVAL, which is kind of cool. Interestingly, this thing has increased range over the extended barrel, which is interesting. Not really sure what's going on there. But if you do chuck on those integral suppressors, you don't have the muzzle attachments, which I think it's taking off the muzzle brake here, which does increase the range ever so slightly, so that's kind of interesting. Anyways, iron sights, you can have these iron sights, which are kind of hard to see through, but you can chuck on some sights, and you'll have a tactical rail there, so there's going to be none of that weird thing on the side of the Dragunovs that you usually see in video games. It's just all nice and neat with a tactical rail, but I'm going to chuck a scope onto this, and what I might do is chuck on the PSO, because look, I was watching Forgotten Weapons before, and the PSO looked kind of good on the SVD, so I'm going to use that. Now for the muzzles, you can have flash hiders, compensators, old suppressors, heavy suppressors, which look pretty good. I quite like suppressed weapons in Fallout 4. They've got a lot of advantages to them, although I'll be definitely making a unsuppressed variant so you can hear this thing shooting loud and proud. Now, for the magazines, you get a whole different range here, which the best of these is a high explosive, which is making us do 665 damage as compared to the 392 that we're getting right now. So that's a little bit ridiculous. We might experiment with that later, but I think I might leave that until a little bit later. But, you know, hollow point, armor piercing, you lose a little bit of damage, but gain more damage against armored targets. High velocity will increase your range but lower your damage even more. Higher capacity for a lower caliber here, so it uses the 5.56s. Now you can have 5mm using the same magazine, which I would have thought 5mm is small. That's weird. Obviously it's probably not using minigun bullets, because although their cartridge is kind of large. Anyways, speculation aside, that is definitely a good compromise there. 6 rounds and 500 damage, not too bad. You can grab the fleches if you feel like your aim is a little bit off, but generally these don't work too well in Fallout because of how damage resistance is calculated, and also in a long range weapon, shooting fleches is a stupid idea. And moving on, you can have some stuff on the underbarrel, including bipods, flashlights, or laser sights. Since this one is going to be of the long range, I'm going to chuck a little bipod on there, because why not? And you can change the stock, which will change the furniture of it as well. So you can have a polymer, wooden, a pistol grip, which would be very uncomfortable, a lightweight grip, and an improved polymer. I'm going to go with a lightweight, I reckon. Unfortunately, there's no standard wooden stock with a cheek rest that you'd find on the improved polymer one, so that kind of sucks. That'd be something cool if they could add that, but we'll go for that one. And you can change the reticule of this to whatever color and every single shape under the sun. There's a lot going on here, so if you want to experiment with those, do that in your own time. A damage slider if the damage isn't quite doing it for you. You've got some emissive, which will change the glow sight colors if there are any, and you can change the material of the polymer if it's there, and you can change the material of the receiver. I'm going to give this one a Tundra, although it's kind of subtle. You can't really tell that it's changed all that much, but sure, it's there. You can also have it gold plated, which is not, I mean, it looks cool, but not for me. And tiger stripes. Actually, the tiger stripes are cool. Let's go with that. Alright, let's shoot stuff. Alrighty, so here we are outside of Immersive Gunners Plaza, and here is the SVD in first person. Looks pretty good. Aiming down sights, no sway at all. So that's going to be helpful, I guess, for aiming. Taking a look at this thing in third person, it's super long. Look at the size of this thing. If you put the stock of this on the ground, point it up directly into the sky, this thing's probably taller than Kira is, which is kind of strange, but yeah, that's what it looks like. Also, with the animations, this thing it points higher than it actually should. You'll notice that I'm sort of focusing on the traffic lights there at the back of them, and the barrel's a little bit too far up, which is interesting. Also, when you bash with this thing, it uses vanilla gun animations and then quickly switches back to whatever animation set it uses before, which is kind of interesting. This one is just a close quarters short range variant of it. I think I messed up in making the sight a circle because it's actually got no dot for me to aim with. I thought the dot would be in the middle of the circle, but okay, whatever. It's a little bit imprecise, but that's okay. We're going to be using this one in close quarters anyway. So let's get started with the sniper one. And what I want to do is get myself a nice perch away from anything explosive because in this game, if you're caught near an explosion, the light produced from that explosion will help the gunners detect you, or anything detect you, because the absence of light right now is what's keeping me nice and safe. So what I want to do is just pick off any random target, just shoot them in the head, like a ghoul or a zombie, and kill them. Unfortunately, the animations sometimes screw you over. Like that gunner, I had the shot lined up and they teleported right at the last second, but these things are hit scans, so aiming isn't too hard. And when I get pushed, I'm going to fall back. So there's the reload animation. It's pretty good. There's a reload animation in third person as well, which we'll probably get to a little bit later on. But yeah, it's high quality. I'm quite pleased with it. I feel like it's a higher quality than the PP19 reload, which is definitely not War Daddy tier, but I feel like more attention to detail was put into this reload set. Gonna quickly kill that one. You'll notice when I actually strike targets, whether I miss or hit, there's a little bit of lighting that happens around it, and I've noticed too if I miss completely and it hits the ground, it'll ricochet into the air, so I'm thinking that that might just be a leftover effect of the ricocheting bullet. There we go, kill you. Take you out. I've got the old kill tips happening or whatever, just to see how far I can gank these gunners away from. Honestly, this is probably not the best choice in scope. The only reason why I can see most of these guys is just because the health bar is above their heads, which is a really helpful mod for seeing stuff. If a little bit cheap and cheaty, we'll go for a critical there on that gunner. Kill that one. I saw 2700. And the hip fire on this is deceptively good because it shows that it's pretty accurate, but it's a little bit inconsistent. I'm going to stop being shot at right now, and I'm going to switch to VATS where I've got a nice safety net. So we'll go for a couple of criticals here. You can see this thing firing in third person. I think she had an ARX 160. That's a good weapon. Or is it an AR? I think ARX is the COD variant of it, the futuristic one. If you ever want to make something futuristic, just throw an X there. It makes everything futuristic. So we won't worry about that gunner hiding behind the car there. We're back into caution now anyway, which means we can go back to getting our cheese multiplier. Oh, I saw that gunner completely phase through that. That was interesting. Unfortunately, I can't quite target that one in VATS. There we go, shut you up. And we're playing this kind of slow and by the numbers, but when we've got a reload speed like this and a mag capacity of 6 and a sneak attack crit to the torso doesn't kill them in one shot, we kind of have to play it a little bit cautiously. I could whip out the close range one and just attempt to go to town, but honestly, that's a lot of gunners over there. My health bar, despite being 1400 or 1200 or something, will be shredded very, very quickly. I can hear him reload. I've got a animation reload replacer that makes all of the reloads super loud, and I want to find out which one it is and then remove it. There we go. If there's only a couple left, I'll switch over to my close quarters variant, although we're in danger now, so might as well go for it, eh? As the game struggles to figure out how to load the thing. No VATS yet. How about now? There we go, I can see you a lot better. chaining a lot of headshots together like that is going to give you a lot of damage fairly quickly, but you'll find that, wow, car explosions do fuck all in Fallout 4. I'm going to sit around these rads because it'll actually heal me. See, the energy shields regenerate with radiation, that's why that happens. I'm not actually playing as a ghoul with a different coat of paint. But anyways, listening to this thing without the suppressor, she just gun bashed the tree. Unfortunately, having a lesser caliber magazine doesn't increase the reload speed at all. It's still very slow. And keep in mind that I do have the quick hands perk too, so it's not like I'm using a slower reloading weapon or have a slow reload in general. This thing is just very, very slow. It kind of forces you to have this playstyle where you kind of have to take it slow and steady. Now there's a gunner over here. We'll take that fucker out. Just a couple of that shots on him. Doesn't matter if I miss, because, oh, okay, I've got all my crits back already. Might as well use it. There we go. And don't forget about the door breach room in there. There's a total of 3 in there, but before we do that, there's a couple around here that I gotta kill. I think. Ah, okay, there they are. There we go. Obviously, the sniper perk is working for me now. Just get the occasional ragdoll, which is super useful for the aforementioned reload speed and mag capacity. Having less enemies charging at you is a pretty advantageous thing. That's why I use a suppressor most of the time. Alright, looks like we're clear here. I'm gonna nip around to the staircase and I'll see you when I shoot stuff. Let's rock indeed, gunner.
Stop right there.
There we go. Let's see if we can't door breach and clear out this room with anti-material rifle. Okay. It's a giant gun pissing contest. Whoever's got the longest gun wins. Oh, okay. Go for a critical. Unfortunately, I'm a nerd rage and ran out of bullets. Come on, mysterious stranger. Fuck, he's useless. Just quickly get a reload here. Ah, you had to pull your bolt back, or your bolt. I didn't have to because I've got a semi-auto rifle. I win again. Semi-auto over bolt action any day of the week. Anyways, so there you have it. A little bit of a glimpse of this thing's sniper power. Honestly, I'm being kind of screwed over by Bethesda's difficulty. Having a 50% damage penalty means this thing is feeling a little bit weaker than it actually should. But all in all, I'm actually quite pleased with it. So I'm going to change up the attachments perhaps, and I'll see you and we'll shoot something else. Alrighty, so I've swapped up a couple of the attachments. I've got a longer range scope on the sniper variant of this, so now I get a much better sight picture. And the bullets, well, boom, kablooms, high explosive, which are a little bit more intense than what you'd see out of a legendary explosive. Those are like firecrackers, and these are like goddamn RPGs or grenades or something, so we'll just steal all of Gerald's kills over here, just annoy him. Although I'm not seeing a whole massive radius out of this. You just seem to get a bunch of bonus damage on direct hits. So get a decent knockdown out of those guys though, which is pretty good. Definitely killed that super mutant. There we go. It still takes a couple of shots to kill those guys, which is kind of scary. But I am hitting them a lot better from a lot longer away now, so that's pretty good. There's a guy with a minigun over there. See what kind of splash damage we get out of this thing. If he does hit me, that's okay, because I've got a backup plan involving recharging the shields on... Ooh, he's a little bit close. I think I may have outparked him, though. To show off the second one for closer ranges, this one's got the armor penetrating ammo, which means it's got a 10 round mag and a nice scope. Yeah, 3.4 times scope with a triangle or a chevron reticule on it, which is pretty cool. But as you can tell in terms of damage, okay, that's fine. We can just recharge the shields by these rad barrels. Yay, ghoulish. I mean, piezonucleic shielding. There we go. Nice and healed up now. Probably can't survive another strike. Luckily he missed, which is odd to see. Gonna go ahead and just shoot him with this. See, for some reason, the explosive damage just doesn't show up all the time. Ugh, Jesus. Wow, he's really inaccurate. That's interesting. But we're almost done with old mate Gerald here, so hopefully we'll get a sniper knockdown on him. No, we won't. These guys look so much different to the behemoths back in Fallout 3. I reckon the behemoths in Fallout 3 were scarier because the swan and they kind of look too derpy to be scary, to be honest. They don't have that massive scowl on their face that the Vault 87 mutants do. Also, they make I think the noise design did alright though. I reckon the swans or the behemoths, they get no splash damage whatsoever. Oh, I want to test that. I'll test that later, but it's okay. It's just a crazy amount of damage, it seems. Although I don't know. It's hard to explain because I feel like with the Firecracker legendary explosives, I would be getting away with getting kills like that, or getting at least a little bit of splash damage off it. It says high explosive for a reason, doesn't it? But this is definitely the way to go if you want to go full damage, full crazy damage. So, you know, if you're pissed off with all of the nonsense with all of the tanky ass dudes in this game, then just give them the old explosive punch and yeah, you won't be complaining about the tankiness of enemies anymore. Who's that? Yeah, we'll see about that, mutant. There you go. Pop a quick reload as we're going around. And then I like how it freeze framed him saying yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so it appears that there's barely any splash damage at all, which is interesting. Maybe Demolition Expert doesn't do anything to increase the radius, because usually the explosion radius with that and the bubble head, I think it's radius for the bubble head, or I think it's something, there's a magazine I think that increases the radius, but the radius is really small, which means probably, yeah, that would hurt you if you were using a legendary explosive, that's for sure. But I think you get the point of this. This was the SVD Dragunov. It's a really cool weapon. I'd highly recommend anyone download the Russian Assault Pack because these weapons kick ass. And if you like to see Russian weapons in your game, I mean, there's Chinese weapons in Fallout 3, so why not, eh? I don't think it's particularly lore-breaking if you're a lore nerd and only install mods that convert to whatever Bethesda has of lore left. But enough of roasting Bethesda. That's it for this video. If you want the weapon, links in the description. Thank you for watching, guys.